Tyler, is it safe to lift before bed? Does it interrupt any sleep? That's a good question. I'm not really sure. I would assume it. I don't know how you would actually. I'm not sure if that's actually been specifically studied. I would think because you're activating your sympathetic nervous system right before bed, you still might be pretty amped up, and you might have trouble falling asleep. It might affect the how quickly you get into a deep sleep. So I couldn't answer that directly. But personally, I don't like to lift before bed because I'll just be amped up and then it'll be harder for me to calm down. I like to do things like sauna or cold therapy at night. If anything, I would just do yoga, but lifting at night. I know some people do just because of their schedule, but I always recommend if you can lift first. If you have a long shift, workout before will give you more energy throughout the day, and then you can focus on getting sleep. So I personally don't like it. Like if it gets dark and it's later on the day, I generally will, even if let's say I have a busy day and I couldn't lift early, I had to start really early doing something else. If it gets later in the day, I'll be like, fuck it, I'll just do some mobility, but I'm not going to put in a heavy lifting session in the evening personally. Because then I'm going to be eating late at night. I'm trying to eat earlier too, trying to shift my eating windows a little bit earlier. Just to play around with some different things I've been liking a little bit more, just eating earlier in the day. So I'm working out earlier, eating earlier, and then tapering off a little bit more towards the evening. So if I'm training late at night, I'm going to want to pound food and I don't want to work out and then just go to sleep on an empty stomach. Yeah, I like to work out earlier in the day, either early afternoon or in the morning when I get up, like earlier in the day, sunlight. So we say safe. Is it safe to lift before bed? It's safe. It's just probably not ideal in terms of getting quality sleep afterwards. And also, when you talk about like getting better sleep, you might fall asleep because you're exhausted, but the problem is you're not necessarily measuring your brain waves and it might be actually negatively affecting quality of sleep. So I posted a clip talking about THC and using marijuana like THC, the psychoactive, and alcohol as a sedative. And this is stuff that Matt Walker has talked about. He's the author of Why We Sleep, and he has a podcast, and he's been on many podcasts. So I would check out his content. He was on one with Andrew Huberman too. And he's talking about when you're using THC as a sedative or it acts like a sedative. And people in the comments are like, well, not all THC is a sedative, blah, blah, blah. People always get offended and always get upset when you start talking about weed, you start talking about alcohol, because everyone's like, no, my blankie. The whole point is you don't want to be using any kind of substances to make you crash, because you might fall asleep fast and wake up like you got drugged and like, whoa, I just woke up. Just because you don't remember anything and you felt like you slept deep doesn't mean you did sleep deep. That's a huge misconception, because you can knock the fuck out and wake up and be like, whoa, I just cranked out. But you might not be getting into those deeper REM sleep. Like just because you knocked yourself out doesn't mean you're actually getting deep quality sleep. So a lot of people are just thinking the word deep like, oh, I was just not waking up. Well, that doesn't mean that you're actually getting the most restorative sleep.